Hello, welcome to SwitchedOn Gaming, Paul speaking, and welcome to a look at Dakar Desert Rally on the PC. Saber Interactive and their team kindly sent me over a copy to look at for you guys. Primarily I wanted to look at it on the Steam Deck. Now what I'll probably do is a separate video on the Steam Deck. I'll do a couple of videos on this. It's a really good game, sort of a spoiler alert. I'm going to go through some gameplay quick and we'll talk about the game as we go along. Let's jump into one of the sport buggy vehicles. We'll go casual. We'll explain all this as we go along. I'm going to go to the Dakar qualification track or route in Saudi Arabia, as it's fairly short, but will give you a good sort of view of what this game's like. They start each race in the bivouac area here where you can sort your car out. I really like this idea because if you see the bottom right hand corner, you get this vehicle inspection, which basically says even if your car's beaten up, if the mechanics and wheels are okay, it will let you race. So I do like that. But you can go into service your vehicle. You can pay to have parts of your vehicle repaired using these DP points, which basically you get for doing everything. If you look in the top right hand corner, I've got 1100 of those. So repairing doesn't normally cause too much of an issue. You can normally repair your vehicle. You can see here the vehicles look really nice. It's got nice camera angles as well. So show you some of those. Now, for those who aren't aware, the Dakar Rally used to be the Paris Dakar Rally when I was a young lad, starting in Paris and ending in Dakar. And the sort of thing you'd only sort of hear mythical chat about. You know, there obviously wasn't satellite TV, as certainly not as widespread as it is now. Back in the sort of early 90s, we used to have to cope with a program called Trans World Sport on Channel 4. I don't know if anybody in the UK remembers that, but it would show all different sorts of sports from around the world, including the Dakar Desert Rally and other sports like kabaddi. So you used to get our sort of first taste from that program now. But as you can see, this is, I mean, I haven't got the world's beefiest PC at all. It's okay. It does play games quite nicely, but you can see here, once you get this game running at a nice graphic setting and a nice frame rate, it really is beautiful. It's a really impressive game, and I just absolutely love all the smoke effects. We'll go to an interior view shortly and show you that, but you know, you basically can't see anything when you've got a few cars in front of you. It's an absolute nightmare. Now, this game I would liken to really feels like, well, modern era. It feels something more akin to Forza Horizon. So you've got that kind of open world off-road feel, but in reality it's kind of a cross between a rally game, a traditional rally game like Dirt or something like that, and Motorstorm. If you remember Motorstorm, you've sort of got this like post-apocalyptic landscape, really, this like barren landscape across Saudi Arabia. Just switching through a few camera angles, but yeah, it feels like, I mean, I love this. Look at this camera angle. Why don't more games do this? It's a helicopter from a chase. Camera angle from a chasing helicopter just looks absolutely epic. Now, there's no replays in the game, but I'd love to have a replay from this angle. I think replays are being added at some point, by the way. Hopefully it has that angle. But yeah, sorry, I'm going completely a bit like this game, going completely off track a lot, so apologies, hope you're keeping up with me. But yeah, so in this game, it's the Dakar Rally. You drive your vehicle. There's a trucks, bikes, quads, sports cars, these off-road vehicles. Usually all get chucked in together to make this race across the deserts. And oh, see the AI took a tumble. Oh, lands on its wheels. Very nice. Across this barren landscape. And it's really a race of attrition more than speed, really. And you can be any of those vehicles, and I'll tell you what, when you're on a bike or a quad, but bike especially, facing down a truck, it's a pretty nervy experience. I can only imagine what it feels like in real life, because when you're in the game here racing like that, it's sort of your heart's in your mouth. But it's just an absolutely fun game when everything comes together, and you've got like those sand dunes, you've got the different vehicles all challenging each other, you've got this beautiful landscape. It's just all comes together, and it is just a very, very unique racing game. You know, I'm very much a racing game purist. I love simulations. I'm very heavily into iRacing. But you know, sometimes you just need to let rip and have fun, and that's what this game is. So that's the sport car. So we're going to jump into a few different vehicles. Apparently finished first there. I'm not sure how I managed that. In the career mode, you have to finish in the top 8, I think. Top 8 or top 6. I think it's top 8 to progress. Which has angered a lot of fans of the Dakar Rally, to be honest, because as I say, it's more about a war of attrition than pure racing. So the preference is that they do away with those sort of arcadey requirements of needing to finish in the top 8 to progress, and just really want to just be able to play the full Dakar Rally end to end, you know, as it was intended, really, and not have to drop out if you don't make the top 8. Just while we're on this screen looking at the vehicles, we'll just go back to, as I said, we've got cars, bikes, these big trucks, which are absolutely awesome. And I think someone said on another channel, on a video I saw, I think it may have been Traction GG, who looked at it, really good racing game channel, but they said if the whole game was just trucks, they would love it, because the trucks are so much fun. We'll do some gameplay though in a bit. Quads, and then the sports vehicles that we just did. Just do some quick stuff on the bikes. One of the things that was added recently, the team at Sabre have been patching this quite a lot since launch. As there is, you know, I'm not going to beat around the bush, there has been some problems with it. But the last week, so second to third week in October, they added historic content, Dakar 21 and Dakar 20 races, routes and vehicles, which was really cool. I'll do another racing sport, then I'll show you professional, which is much harder, but we'll do I want to do that one again. Do we want to do that? Let's try it. At least we know the track, and it's hard to concentrate. I will show you a different track for the next one, but I mean, this is a really fun track anyway. There's lots of good stuff here. Now when you go into pro mode, so when you get out of this beginner's sport mode that, you know, you can choose from the beginning of the game, go into the pro mode, you get no navigation markers at all, not in a sort of video game kind of sense. You actually get what they call a road book, which is what the traditional racers would get, but basically a notebook of instructions, which is just, you have to manually navigate it, and it's just really, really hard. There we go. Let's try the bikes. So you can shift your weight around on the bike bar, up and down on the stick. Love these graphics. I love the way like the shirts sort of ruffle with the wind and stuff. Really cool. And again, these feel really good to race. When the game did launch, first of all, there was a lot of complaints about the handling of this game. But I haven't had this since launch, so I never played an early version of it. By the time I got a copy of this, there had been some patches released. So for me, the handling, I think, is fine. Certainly isn't as the early reviews described as it being very snappy, sort of oversteering to the point of being uncontrollable. Certainly with bikes and quads, don't feel that at all. So hopefully some patches have fixed that. This hill is just absolutely terrifying as you head towards a rock. Now you can see the kind of thing that you're going to get in the road book at the top of the screen. So a bit like a rally, a traditional rally game. You've got kind of those icons at the top that tell you sort of any hazards coming up, the severity of those hazards. Ooh, that wasn't very good. Directions to take, and you've also got kind of a compass. These waypoints, these yellow waypoints that we're racing towards, have got like a compass heading that they call the cap heading, and that's normally how you navigate when you're in professional mode. And talking about the launch of this game, it was so bad to the point that a certain number of steering wheels, you know, not obscure ones either, so, you know, a lot of steering wheels didn't work with the game when it first came out, which just, to me, just seemed nonsensical in a racing game. They know people want to use steering wheels, but thankfully that's been patched in the last patch. Haven't heard any more complaints about that. So yeah, kind of keep your eye on the green navigation icon that comes up at the top, so you have to sort of carry on the same route. We've got a left-hand turn after this, so this gives you a bit of pre-warning. So carry on ahead. Sharp left turn after this next waypoint. So, you know, you do kind of get used to it, but when you haven't got those big yellow markers, it can be difficult. At least you've got something very deliberate to head towards. Oh, when you're in this thick sand, it's really hard. That's why I love this race, because of the different vehicles. Now you think like, oh, what chance has a truck got against a bike? You know, but when you're in these conditions, they're going to have their different strengths and weaknesses at different points. So, you know, in reasonably flat ground, you know, a bike's going to be very fast and going to be able to, where am I going? Going to be able to nip in between trees and rocks and be very navigable, if that's the word. Whereas a truck, you know, is going to struggle. But once a truck gets onto water or heavy sand, it's going to go faster than a bike. So that's the sort of balance of the Dakar Rally. And why it's so much fun, because, you know, not one vehicle hasn't really got an advantage over the other. You can look at like the cars, like sports cars, the rally cars, and they've got kind of, you know, the best sort of middle ground in terms of being able to get through reasonably heavy terrain and also be reasonably nippy as well. But let's have a look at the trucks. We'll go on. It doesn't really matter what truck you pick. I mean, some of these again just look so cool. We'll go with the big shock truck. We'll try a different event. You can see here you can also inspect the trucks as well, or inspect any of the vehicles, sorry. Flick through the different cameras. Look inside, you can even rev the engine. Hear what it sounds like, so that's cool. Yeah, we'll pick that one. Let's try the professional. So we're going to go professional. We'll do the Dakar qualification. Allow bots is fine. What I really want to do is put the sounds on, as annoying as they are. Let's see if we can put the sounds on. Navigator's voice off. So let's try with Navigator's voice on. I think there's a navigator in professional mode. Let's have a look. So in this mode we've got no yellow markers, we're just relying on reading the road book, so you'll see that in the bottom corner. So we have got a navigator now. And again, as I say, this will be your personal preference of whether you use the navigator or not, but to me they get, you know, it's too much.
Keep right, cap 3, bump, dip. 1 kilometer, stay on track. Stay on track, bump. 1 kilometer, prepare to turn right. Right
But
on track.
I guess if you haven't got the yellow navigation beacons, then
Left on track.
I guess the navigator voice is the next best thing.
1 kilometer, keep straight on track. Attention, danger 3, stay on track. Danger 3, bump, ditch.
Now the trucks you have to approach very differently.
Danger 3, bump, dip. Stay on track.
You can roll these so easily. So you really have to sort of monitor your speed.
Keep left.
And
Cap 350.
oh, watch out for massive rocks. Also have to be very careful about throwing them left and right too often, because they're very easy to unbalance and they will just roll over. Now thankfully the devs have implemented something really cool in the game. You can basically repair the truck at any time really quickly by holding down the kind of select key. I'm still trying to drive this like a car, so apologies, you need to be a lot slower.
1 kilometer. Prepare to turn left.
And also you can just reset at any time as well.
Stay on course. You must go to cap 356.
Yeah, I've gone off course here. Let's spin it round. So when it said there cap 356,
Cap 347.
you got to use the
You must go to cap 0.
use the compass at the top of the screen.
You must go to cap 5.
Which I think is
You must
this
go
way.
to cap 66. Keep right. Cap
there we go.
242. Rocks. Keep right. Cap 242.
So again, without having those yellow navigation things,
Danger 2
it's
in all the figure. Water.
it is quite difficult.
1 kilometer. Stay on track. Attention. Danger 1.
There's the damage model.
Forward on traces. Leave track. Bump. Rocks. Right to track. Leave traces. Danger 3. Bump. 1 kilometer. Prepare to turn right. Attention. Danger 1. Downhill.
Gone a bit quiet here as I'm trying to concentrate.
Straight. Cap 156. Downhill.
But I really like the interior view for the trucks.
Keep left.
Because you're right at the front of the truck.
Rocks. Prepare to turn right. Right to traces. Leave track. Dip. 1 kilometer. Prepare for tight left. Attention. Danger 3. Keep on traces. Danger 3. Bump.
Oof, you can see there the
1 kilometer. Prepare for tight left. Attention. Danger 3.
angle that we're
Rocks.
moving at. You can just roll it. If you
Forward on
sort of
traces.
steer
Danger
quickly
3.
left, quickly right, you are in danger of rolling. So you do have to.
Kilometer.
You can lose the track sometimes by not going left and right. You will could mean you taking a different route.
Leave traces. Rocks.
That makes
Keep on
sense.
cap 58. Cap 60. Off-road. Danger 3. Dunes. 1 kilometer. Prepare for tight right.
Let's just do this
Now,
spectacular
cap 52. Off-road. Danger 3. Dunes.
helicopter view.
1 kilometer. Prepare for tight right.
I think, as I said at the start, there has been problems since launch with this game, and the devs have done
Cap is not
Pushed up.
this way.
a lot of patches already.
Tight left to road. 2 kilometers.
So I'm hopeful that they're going to get there in the end. They have added new content as well. They've promised there's big content plans coming for the next few months and into next year. So I'm hopeful. But the really cool thing is, it's
We made it.
a decent price game as well. They've not gone silly with it. I think it's either £30 or £35, which in these days of £70 games is pretty reasonable. But it is just such a fun game. I'm going to do one more race. I'm conscious that the video's stretching on a bit. I'm going to do one more race, probably as the quads. I'm going to pick a different track. We'll go back to sport mode just to make it a little bit easier. We'll pick a different track. Let's do this Desert Wings Rally. Now, obviously, we've done the starter ones. They can be... Oh, actually, I should have done a one with some weather. There's a really cool snow stage that I've done. It was pretty terrifying, like in a snow blizzard and a sand blizzard. I will, as I say, over the next few days do another video showing the Steam Deck performance. Some good and some bad news with that. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that and embarrass myself. I'll do a little bit of this, so I won't do the full rally because some of these later rallies can go on for a bit. I think you get the general idea, but I thought I'd show you some quad gameplay, then you've kind of seen it all in terms of various vehicle types. I think out of all the car types, the quad's got the worst rap on launch in terms of their handling and stuff. Whee! Through the middle. But yeah, I think they handle okay. I've not really had a massive problem. And again, you can shift your weight about on the quad bike here. You can see me shifting my weight backwards and forwards, side to side, which really does help when you're going over the track and stuff. And you don't have to stick to the track as well. That's the other thing that kind of reminds me of Motorstorm, is that you can really plot your own way through as long as you're heading towards the waypoint. So you see the waypoint there is ran to the left. You could go to the left. We've kind of gone to the right here. We can go off, really off track. Take completely our own route here. As long as we're going to hit that waypoint, doesn't matter what way you go. So that's really fun, especially when you've got a lot of cars on track. There is a multiplayer mode as well. I didn't mention the multiplayer. I've not played it myself. Oh, I should have just committed to going the way I wanted to then. Oh, and then we explode the bike. So it's kind of like, we started going this way, so I should have committed to it. It's one of those games that's like, momentum's really important. So even though we kind of picked the suboptimal route there, we probably would have been quicker just sticking to it and trying to figure out our way across to the waypoint. Then, oh, we're going to miss that waypoint. Yeah, should have figured out our way to that waypoint another way rather than trying to stop. I'm trying to turn around here because I'm going to go back to it. You can actually miss waypoints. I think you're allowed to miss 3 in total, so you don't really have to go back for them. You will get a time penalty for each one you miss though, so it's up to you if it's worth the risk. Once you get unstable on these quad bikes, it does get a little bit shaky. Again, once you learn to just adjust your weight a little bit, you're alright. Might notice the odd frame rate drop there. It can happen. As I say, my machine's not the beefiest, and I am running mostly really high settings. Not the highest, but high enough that I'm getting that decent compromise of looks versus frame rate, but you can go higher. But there is the odd dip. But again, it's something that's been improved over time by the devs in these opening weeks. Kind of lost my way with the waypoints now. Where are we going? 134. Oh, I see the yellow dot to the right. I need to go right somehow. Let's take it off road or off track. There we are. Whoa. Get the handlebar view of this. Really quite intense. And again, good sense of speed. Really shifts. There is another mode as well. We've got the sport mode, which is for beginners, the professional mode, which takes away the navigation, but there is also a third mode, which is basically simulation mode, I think it's called, which is a full simulation, so a lot more damage. I think all the vehicles are on the track at the time. No navigation apart from your road book. But that is considered hardcore for people, and it's actually locked until level 25. So it's going to take quite a few hours of grinding through the other modes to get to that unlock. Again, it was a bit of a bone of contention with people. You know, you buy the game for the full Dakar Rally experience, and it's not really here. You can't do the full rally unless you're in simulation mode, which is a bit of a shame. But I think we'll leave it there. I think you get the general idea of Dakar Rally. As I say, I'm going to do some more videos, so if there is anything specific you want to see, drop me a comment over the next day or two, and I'll try and include it in future videos. So the next video will kind of be focused on Steam Deck, running on the Steam Deck. Just a disclaimer, if you do sort of go looking for it on the Steam Deck, it is, or as of time of making this video, it is classified as unsupported. So that should tell you enough, really. Basically, don't go in expecting it to work, because it's not claimed to work. It's unsupported. But you know, if you've got a Steam Deck, you'll know full well that a lot of the games that are unsupported or listed as unsupported do work, either with straight out of the box or with a tweak. So it wasn't out of the realms of possibility that it might work. I will say this, it runs. You can boot the game and you can play it. But for any more, you'll have to wait for the video coming up. So there you go. That is Dakar Rally from Sabre Interactive. As I say, really, really enjoying it. Love racing games, and I say, if you like Motorstorm, if you like rally games, if you like Forza Horizon, then this is a great option. Oh, let's go through this fuselage of a plane. Whoa. Just be drawn up with some other quadders. Oh, ruin their race and hit a tree. So there you go. That's Dakar Rally. Hope you enjoyed the video. Drop me a comment below if you did, and say if you want to see anything specific, let me know. Please click the thumbs up. Really helps me out and be most appreciated. But until next time, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all soon. Cheers, everyone. Bye bye.